News Talk 1070 KHMO presents On the Mark with Mark Hespin. News Talk 1070 KHMO presents On the Mark with Mark Hespin. On the Mark is powered by Cunis Country Honda Hyundai, your number one Honda and Hyundai dealer in the tri-state area at 221 North 36th Street, Quincy. Faith, family, and giving back. That's Cunis Country. And now, here's Mark Hespin.
Good morning, Tri-States, and wherever you may be listening on the News Talk 1070 KHMO app. This is On the Mark. I am Mark Hespin, brought to you by Cunis Honda Hyundai, your number one Honda and Hyundai dealer in the Tri-State area, 221 North 36th Street in Quincy. You got to ask them about that lifetime powertrain warranty on new and used vehicles. I'll put it this way. If you're driving around right now in this cold and you don't have good all-wheel drive, or you don't have good working heat and heated seats and heating steering wheels, go see the good people at Cunis Honda Hyundai. You're going to be glad you did. Just tell them Mark sent you. Welcome on into episode 219 of On the Mark here. If you're listening here on terrestrial radio on News Talk 1070 KHMO, we appreciate it. Whether you're on the app, that's awesome. You can download the KHMO app and listen on the go. As always, follow me on all social media at Mark Hespin. That's X, that's Instagram, that's YouTube at Mark Hespin. Simple as that, MarkHespen. Or follow the show on Facebook. Just search On the Mark KHMO on Facebook and join in with the Facebook Live audience and everything we got going on there. What a week we had. I mean, this is the type of show where it's like I could lead my show with like 10 different things. There will be times coming up in the next couple months in the summer where it's like, oh God, what do I lead the show with? We got baseball, the dog days of summer. I mean, at least we'll have the Olympics, right? So that'll help spice things up. But I mean, this is one of those shows where it's like, I could talk Michigan, I could talk Saban, I could talk Belichick, I could talk Pete Carroll. I could just talk the playoffs and the frigid cold temperatures. So we'll try to get it all in for you today on the show. Let's waste no more time. Let's jump into it. Hespin headline number one. It's the end of an era.
Hespin's headlines On the Mark.
In the NFL and in college football, we'll focus on the NFL. We'll talk Saban later on in the show. We officially have the end of an era with the moving on for the New England Patriots of Bill Belichick. And also for the Seattle Seahawks for Pete Carroll. You can throw in Mike Vrabel for the Tennessee Titans as well. Number one seed, a nice run in Tennessee. A real changing of the guard. I will say I was not surprised when the Bill Belichick news came down. The Pete Carroll news caught me off guard. It really did. I thought Pete was going to kind of ride it out with Geno Smith. They give him another year to maybe try to find that next quarterback and groom and set the organization up. But I actually think the Pete Carroll move and the Bill Belichick move right now makes a ton of sense. Let's start with Bill, especially because now we know that Gerard Mayo is the guy, right? He gets the job. He's the new head coach of the New England Patriots. What the New England Patriots are doing is they are going all in on the Houston Texans model, right? They say, we're going to bring in someone who knows the organization, who is a former great player with the organization, who's got ties to when the organization was really good. You know, those Texans teams that made a couple playoff runs with DeMeco Ryans leading the defense. Gerard Mayo, a huge part of the second half of the Patriots dynasty. You know, that first half of the Patriots dynasty, you think of the names like Bruschi, and Harris and all those guys, or Rodney Harrison. But this is that kind of second half of the dynasty, the 2010s part of the dynasty with Gerard Mayo and those great New England defenses, Vince Wilfork and those guys. And so you're trying to follow in that footprint. The next part of the that blueprint, right, in moving on is getting the quarterback. And we saw that with the Houston Texans. They went out and they got their guy, C.J. Stroud. And within a year, they went from worst to first and running their division. And it seems like it's going to be the Texans' division now for years to come. So that's obviously what the New England Patriots are trying to do. And I think it's the right time and it's the right opportunity. They have the 3rd overall pick. The Patriots, if you listen to one of the great sports podcasts on the planet, the number 1 sports podcast on the planet, Part of My Take, I'm an avid listener to it. Shout out to Part of My Take and the Part of My Take guys. I laugh all this week listening to it because one of the producers on the show, Hank, he's a diehard New England Patriots fan. And he literally is saying, we've never been in this spot before. I don't know how this works. I don't know what it's like to draft number 3. I don't know what it's like to go through a coaching change. 24 years of Bill Belichick. And in that time, even in the few, rare down years, when Brady got injured and everything, they still made the playoffs. And in the last couple of years, they drafted Mac Jones and they missed that. That was the Cam Newton. And so they went with Mac Jones. They got him. But that was, they didn't trade up to get him. He fell to him at 14, 15. Drafting the middle of the first round, and then the past couple of years they sustained a way to find in the playoffs or close to it, and the bottom fell out for New England this year. And so New England is in the perfect spot to reset their whole organization. They have their coach. Now New England's got to go get their quarterback. I think the New England Patriots should be the most aggressive in calling up to Chicago Bears to move to number 1. I think New England, if they can find a way to go pair that culture and that young head coach and the future of their organization with Caleb Williams, an organization that will absolutely embrace him, support him. He's no longer following in Brady's footsteps. It's this kind of muddled Cam Newton, Mac Jones last couple of years that just got kind of ugly. I think the New England Patriots should be the most aggressive organization in trying to go get Caleb Williams to reset their franchise. And now let's look at the Seattle Seahawks. In the same vein, I will say really quickly, I made a note here and I didn't want to forget it. With Bill Belichick, I think Bill Belichick is not done coaching. I think if you're Bill Belichick, you hold out. I think there could be a job or two that opens up after this weekend. It could. If the Philadelphia Eagles lose on Monday, it would not shock me at all if the Philadelphia Eagles want to move on from Nick Sirianni. And if you're Bill Belichick, you want to go to the most ready-to-win-now situation. Win-now situation. I don't think Belichick wants to go to the Chargers because you look at that division with Sean Payton, with Andy Reid. I mean, even though you have Justin Herbert and a lot of talent on defense, that is a tough division. I think Washington is intriguing to Belichick because I think they have some nice pieces. They have draft capital, but even then, it's a rookie quarterback and you're kind of starting fresh. I think Atlanta is very interesting to Belichick if he can find maybe a veteran quarterback, if he can entice a Kirk Cousins or a veteran to come down there with all those weapons, that solid young defense. So I think Belichick's looking for a win-now situation, but I think Belichick will absolutely be a head coach somewhere next year. And then we look at Pete Carroll. I think Pete Carroll would be really smart for Pete Carroll to kind of ride this off into the sunset. Pete Carroll is one of the top 15 just football coaches maybe of all time. Multiple national titles in college, 2 Super Bowl appearances with a win in the NFL. I mean, he is a modern-day Jimmy Johnson in a lot of ways. And I think Pete Carroll would be smart to kind of ride this off into the sunset, not take another job. I could see him maybe wanting a 1-year kind of rebuild consultant type of thing. But even then, I think Pete Carroll would be really smart to kind of ride this off into the sunset. The last couple of years in Seattle were not as good as I think we're all thinking in our head they were. And I think it would be really smart for Pete Carroll to ride this off into the sunset. And Seattle is now in a spot where they have a lot of things to work with. You have Geno Smith under contract, so you don't have to be as aggressive as New England, right, to go get Caleb Williams. But if Seattle were to want to go get a Caleb Williams, it would be an amazing spot for them to have him, right? You could still start Geno. You have a ton of draft capital to trade up to go get Caleb Williams. You have players that teams like Chicago would want to go get Caleb Williams. I think Seattle should absolutely look to the future right now. And they're a desired head coaching destination. I think Seattle might be the spot, the landing spot for someone to go coach. It's a stable organization. They have a ton of talent up there. The expectations are high, but they're not out of this world. I think Seattle gets what they are. and they understand where they fit in all this. They're not, we expect Super Bowls every single year. You can win if you can win a lot in Seattle and make a bunch of playoffs, you can keep your job for a long, long time. I don't think it's not a free agent destination. I think it's obviously not as, it's not LA, it's not Miami, but I don't think there's any qualms with the idea of going up to Seattle. I think Seattle becomes a really attractive destination. Again, the tough thing with Seattle is it's a lot like the Chargers job. As you look at that division, you say McVay, Shanahan, you're already kind of slotting into that third spot, right? Same with the Chargers. You already kind of feel like you're slotting into that third spot with Kansas City and Denver and the coaching situations they have there. But I think Seattle's a fantastic opening. And then I do want to quickly mention Mike Vrabel. I think it's really dumb for the Titans to get rid of Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel's a fantastic football coach. I think the Titans are now in a really precarious spot where they have to find a coach that likes the idea of coming in there and coaching Will Levis. Will Levis showed a lot of promise. If they can go get their offensive guy and build around it, I think there's a chance there. I think I would go all in on Ben Johnson if I'm the Titans, and I'd want to build that play-action run game with the play-action pass off of it. I think Will Levis, the big arm, if you can work on his accuracy, you could really build Detroit South in Tennessee, a physical football team, to try to combat with what Jacksonville and what the Texans are doing. And so I think the Tennessee Titans are in a unique spot right now. I think they ran out of town a really good coach who is going to absolutely have his pick of the litter for jobs. I can see Vrabel in Seattle. I can see Vrabel in Atlanta. I can see Vrabel in Washington. If I was Vrabel, I would stay away from the Panthers job. I could see Vrabel in LA with the Chargers. There's a lot of great opportunities. Mike Vrabel's going to have his pick of the litter. Really is. And I think there's a lot of great opportunities for him. And I think Tennessee's put themselves in a really unique spot. Later on in the show, we will talk about the Bears and their decision to keep Matty Eberflus, as well as some of the other teams. I'm a little surprised that the Saints aren't making a change or haven't announced they're making a change yet. Some of the other teams that are decided to stick with it, maybe a mistake. But we got a lot of openings here, a lot of openings. And Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, Ben Johnson, Jim Harbaugh, is he staying? To me, those are the candidates. Those are the names. And we'll see how the dominoes fall here coming on as Gerard Mayo's in New England. End of the era for Bill Belichick. I think it's smart timing for Belichick to leave, too, because if Belichick – the Patriots have to get a rookie QB, right? They have to restart. And if you're Belichick right now, I can in my mind block out, in 10, 15 years from now, I'll forget about this year, this last bad year. You'll think, those Mac Jones, Cam Newton days, they weren't terrible. It was COVID. And then, he did lead Mac Jones to the playoffs. Yeah, it got a little ugly, but overall, you'll think of all the good memories with Belichick in New England. And if he can go to a situation where he can win now and have kind of the Tom Brady in Tampa situation, 3 years of kind of sustained winning, maybe a couple wild cards in a division, I think it's possible in Atlanta. I think it's possible he could do that in, I don't know. Atlanta seems like the spot. Washington's going to be tough. Dallas is rolling right now. Philly's got a ton of talent. Chargers, can you really knock off Mahomes and Andy Reid? Seattle, Atlanta. Keep your eye out if I'm Bill Belichick. You're listening on the Mark News Talk 1070 KHMO and the KHMO app. When we come back, let's go through the slot of games wild card weekend. We got A.J. Brown out. We got T.J. Watt out. No Gabe Davis for the Buffalo Bills. Crazy weather. We'll get to all that next. You're listening on the Mark News Talk 1070 KHMO and the KHMO app.
Working, living pain-free. These are a few of the things many of us take for granted. Yet, for many United States military veterans, finding and affording oral health care is a challenge many of us don't think about. Dental Lifeline Network is looking for dentists who can change this. DLN is asking dentists and their teams to volunteer to see one veteran with special needs one time per year. Visit willyouseeonevet.org to learn more. That's willyouseeonevet.org.
1070 KHMO.
Welcome on back to On the Mark here on News Talk 1070 KHMO and the KHMO app, broadcasting live and local here in our KHMO studios in the heart of Quincy on this frigid Saturday, January 13th. Thank you so much for making me a part of your morning. Shout out to Cunis Honda Hyundai for being a part of the show. Over 3,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. So if you're realizing this winter weather, you need all-wheel drive, you need a truck, you need heated steering wheel, heated seats, you got to go get yourself a new vehicle. Shout out to the great people at Cunis Honda Hyundai. Those guys will make you a deal. They did wonders in finance for me. They got me into a newer vehicle, a better vehicle for less money. I don't know how they do it. They're phenomenal. Check them on out. Tell them Mark sent you. We have to dive in now to the Super Wild Card weekend. I'm going to make my picks. I do have a lock and an upset this week because I feel good about it. But I do want to pat myself on the back here. 19-16-1. That was my gambling record this year. 36 picks. 2 each week. A lock and an upset with the spreads. And being above 3 games above 500, that feels pretty darn good. That feels pretty darn good. I'm not going to lie about it. That means if you would bet with me all week, we're plus money. Every week, we're plus money. I feel good about that, and I feel good about my lock and my upset here for Wild Card Weekend. So let's jump into it. Hespin headline number 2.
Hespin's headlines on the mark.
All right. Super Wild Card Weekend is upon us. Let's go through the games. The first one of the weekend is today at 3:30 on NBC. No paywall for this game. Browns at the Texans. 11-6 Cleveland Browns versus the 10-7 Houston Texans. You know, the Texans are pretty good at home this year. 6-3 at home. The Browns did struggle on the road. Under 500, 3-5 on the road. The Browns are favored by 1.5. The over-under is 44.5. A really good Browns defense. This is a Browns team that dominated the Texans a couple weeks ago when there was no C.J. Stroud. It was the Amari Cooper game where he went off and had like 200 and something yards. I think a lot of that favors the Houston Texans in this game. Being at home, having C.J. Stroud, a Texans offense that will look very different for this Browns defense. They won't have that in-game footage to really prepare on because there was no C.J. Stroud. They were just running stuff that was anything they could with, I believe, Case Keenum at the time. I like the Texans in this game so much. It's actually my upset of the week. I'll take the Texans 1.5. I think this game is really close, and I think the Texans and C.J. Stroud, the young QB, find a way to win it. I'll make the case for the Browns. The Browns defense is nasty. And if the Browns defense can find a way to keep C.J. Stroud in the pocket and get after him, that's going to be nasty for the Texans. That's not good. I will say also rookie QBs in their debuts in the playoffs and first-time quarterbacks in the playoffs, it's never great statistics when they go up against people and quarterbacks who have played in the playoffs for. Obviously, Joe Flacco, above 500 record in the playoffs. They're kind of on this miracle run. Listen, would it shock me if the Browns win? Absolutely not. I'm going to take the Texans based on a couple things. I think C.J. Stroud is a really special athlete, and he's playing really special football. The way they played against the Colts last week and found a way to win that game in a win and go home, I think that really helps them. I think the momentum's good for them. I think the Browns also coming in maybe a little rusty after sitting a lot of key players last week, kind of waving the white flag and get everyone healthy for this game. I think that favors the Texans. The Texans have got to find a way to get out to an early lead. That will help them because you want to force the Browns off of their play action, away from the run game a little bit, make Joe Flacco push the ball down the field, and DeMeco Ryans in this young Texans defense. Now, they're not nearly as good as the Browns defense, but they're at home. That stadium's going to be rocking, and if they can find a way to get some pressure on Joe Flacco, make him make mistakes. Flacco's going to make a mistake in this game. He turns the ball over. Can they capitalize on it? I like the Texans. I like them close. I like this game to be a really fun, entertaining game. It really is a pick'em, but as far as all the games and the lines go, the Texans are the one underdog I feel best about. I think it's because they're at home and they're an underdog, and they have a really great young quarterback who I think is special. So That's where my gut's going. I had to pick an upset because I wanted to do a lock and an upset this weekend for Wild Card Weekend. To me, it's 50-50. I'll take the Texans in a close win at home, 23-20. The under hits 44.5. The Texans beat the Browns. C.J. Stroud, I think a final drive, last minute heroics, tied 20-20. He gets them a field goal, and the Texans go on to move on to the divisional round in a surprise move. I think it's very similar to like what we saw last year with Trevor Lawrence leading kind of a miracle comeback win and an improbable win against the Chargers last year at home as an AFC South divisional winner. I think this game has very similar vibes in that way. I like the Texans over the Browns. Meanwhile, the paywall game. Yes, the dreaded Peacock paywall game. The Miami Dolphins 11-6 at the 11-6 Kansas City Chiefs. Let me say this about the paywall. I am a firm believer in if you don't want this to continue, you got to put your money where your mouth is. I don't own Peacock. I'm not paying for Peacock, and I'm not buying Peacock for this game. I will be going out and supporting a local establishment, a bar or restaurant that has this game on, and that's how I'm going to watch this game. I encourage you all to do the same. Find your local establishment that is going out there and is going to put on this game and support them. Don't buy into it. Don't give the NFL the money. I think it is pretty shameful of the NFL to put a playoff game behind the paywall, especially one that has as much intrigue as this. I think it's the second best game of the weekend, second most intriguing game of the weekend. The defending Super Bowl champs, the biggest stars in the playoffs, Tyreek Hill going back home to Kansas City for the first time. I think it's pretty scummy of them to do this. I get it. NBC pays a lot of money. That's how it works. Put your money as fans where your mouth is. Don't give them your subscription. Stay strong. Now, if you already have Peacock because you like it, good for you. That's awesome. Stream away. Go support a local business. All right, I'm off my high horse. Let's talk about the game. Everyone is saying that the cold favors the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm going to tell you this. I listened to a bunch of different people this week. I talked to people this week who played the game. And I asked every single one of them I talked to. And then everyone I listened to, like Brian Baldinger and other people who played in extreme cold weather games. I asked them, like, what does it do? Like, what is the game? What is the game within the game when it's really cold? And Brian Baldinger said this week on the Part of My Take podcast, I think it's such an underrated thing. When it's that cold, it really impacts the defenses. Your hands are numb. Your arms are numb. And you are expected to go out there and lay hits and make tackles. Offenses can lean on the big uglies, push them, run the football, and then wide receivers running routes trying to avoid, the tackles and the hits. All of this favors the offenses. Miami's offense is better than Kansas City's offense right now. Both can run the ball, right? Both can run the ball. Both have solid offensive lines. One has the best quarterback of the game. The other has a very nice quarterback in their system. I think this extreme cold, it favors no one. If it was 20 degrees, if it was 30 degrees, if it was 40 and rainy, all of that I would say favors the Chiefs. When you get into minus 15 feels like temperature, it doesn't favor the Chiefs. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. It is brutally and miserably cold for everyone. It favors no one. Everyone is equally miserable. And what I think this game is going to come down to, I think both teams are going to run the ball well. I think you're going to see a lot of Pacheco. I think you're going to see a lot of Achane and a lot of this scheme run game from the Dolphins that is very much like the San Francisco 49ers. I think you see a ton of Pacheco. I think you see a lot of carries. And then it's going to come down to which offense is capable of making the pass play when they need to. And do you trust Kansas City's wide receivers or do you trust Tyreek Hill? who's played in Kansas City, who's back in Kansas City for the first time. All it takes is Tua hitting Tyreek on a slant. He breaks a tackle in the miserable cold because no one wants to tackle and everyone's hands are numb. And he goes for a 60-yard touchdown late in the third quarter to break a 17-17 tie in a demoralizing fashion to Chiefs fans at home after they just watched Valdez-Scantling drop a ball. Right? All I'm trying to do is paint you a picture is that the Dolphins are 100% alive in this game. They are 100% alive in this game. Don't think the Dolphins don't have a chance. Now, that being said, I'm picking the Chiefs. I am picking the Chiefs. I am. But I just wanted to paint this picture. No one's doing it. I've listened to so much sports talk this week and the previews and the experts. No one is painting you the picture how the Dolphins can win. I really do think the Dolphins have a chance here. I really do. I'm going to trust Mahomes. I'm going to trust Kelsey. I'm going to trust Pacheco. I'm going to trust Andy Reid. I am. Also, the Dolphins just don't have playoff success. The cold is brutal. I think it's going to be brutal on both teams. I think the Chiefs and Pacheco are going to just have a big, big game. I hope Andy Reid sticks to running the football. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I don't think they cover. It's 4.5. I think this is close. I think it's ugly. I think it's, 20-17, 21-17. I really do think it's close. And I think Miami is going to be very alive in this game. The only other option is Miami gets blown out. Like the cold is so bad, it ends up being 30-3. Like that, I mean, that's how this game is going. I think it's close and the Dolphins are alive and could win it, or it's a disaster and it's so cold and Miami just has nothing and it's 30-3. I'll paint the picture, Chiefs fans. I know. I'll paint the picture. The Dolphins are alive in this game. I'll take the Chiefs. You can listen to the game also if you don't want to pay for the paywall on our sister station, 97.9 Kick FM, your home of Chiefs football all season long. All right, let's move on to Sunday's games. None of these are behind a paywall. Steelers at the Bills, 10-7 Steelers at the 11-6 Bills. The Bills found their way to earn the 2 seed. Shout out to the Bills. Really, really. I mean, the Bills were 6-6, right? Everything was pointed against them. People were celebrating the demise of Josh Allen. And the Bills found a way to get to 11-6 and not only win the East, but get the 2 seed. I think the Bills, this game is going to be another one that's a nasty weather game. It's not going to be as cold, but they're experiencing insane snow and like wind gusts of like 60 miles an hour. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be so much fun to watch tomorrow on CBS. They're paying people in Buffalo to come clear out the stadium today and tomorrow overnight into tomorrow morning. All of this, to me, means that the Steelers are alive in this game. I think it's stupid to take the points 10.5. Buffalo's going to win. Buffalo, I think, has got this complete mojo of they're now, for some reason, they're the 2 seed, but they're playing with house money. I think this is the type of Buffalo season that they finally needed, right? Every single year of the last 3 years, they were the sleeper pick to win the Super Bowl. They were no one's sleeper pick to win the Super Bowl this year. People were down on the Bills all this year, celebrating the demise of the Bills. And I think, no all pros, a lot of disrespect. I think this is lining up perfectly for a deep playoff run for the Buffalo Bills. But I do think the weather's going to be so ugly and nasty. The Steelers are absolutely going to be alive in this game. But Josh Allen, him running the ball is going to be a huge factor in this game with the insane wind gusts. The Steelers' run game has gotten a lot better over the last couple weeks. They're going to be able to score and keep up with the Bills. The Bills' run game is going to keep them alive in this game. The Bills will find a way to win. It'll be ugly. It'll be nasty. It'll be fun for us to watch. The Steelers will be alive. I think it's going to end up being about 20-13. Pittsburgh covers, but falls to Buffalo. I like the Bills in this game. I really do think the Bills are on their way for a special run here. And I think it's because they're finally playing with no pressure, no expectations. They found a run game, And they're at home. They're going to be able to battle. They are avoiding the vaunted Ravens until the last possible minute, and that's huge. That is huge for them. Packers at the Cowboys. Listen, I hate both these teams. you know, if you listen, this is a no-win for me. But listen, the Cowboys are 8-0 at home. It's a Mike McCarthy revenge game. The Packers will be alive in this game. Dallas -7 seems like a lot. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I like the over in this game. The over is 50.5. I think this could easily be a 30, 24, 33, 27 high-scoring affair. The Packers' defense is not good. Don't be fooled by what the Packers did against the Bears last week. The Packers' defense is not good. And so the Cowboys can score. CeeDee Lamb healthy, Cooks healthy, offensive line for Dallas healthy, Dak healthy. I like that the Cowboys played to win the division last week. They're not rusty. I think a lot of this leads to an easy Cowboys victory. Maybe the Packers find a way to cover late. Jordan Love playing good football. I think this is going to be the highest scoring game of the weekend, and I think this is going to be the game that will be a real nice palate cleanser after going. We're going to have games in a row here, Kansas City and Miami, and then on Saturday night, and then Buffalo and Pittsburgh Sunday morning, that are going to look nasty and gross and ugly in weather. And then we'll get the Dome, Jerry's World, Packers, Cowboys, short sleeves, dome weather, high scoring. It'll be a real palate cleanser. But I just don't see the Cowboys losing at home. They have been unbeatable at home. I think Micah Parsons finds a way to really impact this game big time against that Packers offensive line. It's been good, but not like a traditional Packers offensive line. Jordan Love will make a mistake. He just will. The rookie, first-time quarterbacks in the playoffs, that's what happens. This is a year that Dak, I think, really, he knows it's a contract year, second-team All-Pro. I think this is a playoff run year for Dak. I'm starting to feel it that way. Packers take care of the Cowboys take care of the Packers. I'll go 30-24. I think it's a fun, high-scoring affair. Rams at the Lions. This is, to me, the game of the weekend. It's got the best storylines. I think it's got the best matchups. I think it's going to be, obviously, in the Dome, so we don't have to worry about weather. Everyone is talking about it being a Stafford back home in Detroit. And that should be the main storyline, right? Stafford was there for so long. He led them to a playoff run, but they haven't had a home playoff game since 1993. The Lions, this plucky underdog, this absolute feel-good story, and now they get to host maybe the greatest quarterback in their franchise's history, and who went on to win a Super Bowl. But remember, this is a Jared Goff revenge game too. And the Lions are playing, I think, angry. They're playing frustrated. They got screwed out of the number 2 seed with that game against the Cowboys. Here's the matchup to watch. The young, improving, but not great defensive line for the Rams and the front 7 for the Rams. I mean, Aaron Donald's the star, right? And he can still wreck a game. And he'll get his. But that Lions offensive line might be the best in football. Penei Sewell is an absolute freak. Ragnow, they have a fantastic offensive line. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are maybe the best backfield in football. And I really think you're going to see them just lean on that and the play action pass. And Jared Goff, he can pick apart with those weapons, even without Sam Laporta, with Williamson and with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think you're going to see a really efficient game from Jared Goff, an explosive run game from the Detroit Lions. The Rams will stay in this game. Stafford is going to throw the ball over the yard. But the Lions' defensive line can get at the young, inexperienced offensive line for the Rams. I think Hutchinson will make his presence felt in this game. They got their defensive tackle back healthy, the Lions do. I like the Lions in this game. They are my lock of the week, Detroit -3. This is high scoring. This will be fun. I think the Lions win 33-24. They take care of business. It's fun. It's exciting. They welcome the Rams back. But the Lions are the better football team. The Lions are playing better football. The Lions have earned the right to move on and to not have their hearts broken by Matt Stafford. I think Stafford makes a mistake late, and Goff doesn't. I think that's one of the differences in this game. I think it'll be 24-24, 27-24 Lions. Stafford has a chance, makes a mistake. Hutchinson gets a strip sack fumble. Goff leads them down in a nice drive to another touchdown or kick, a field goal to kind of seal the victory. Lions erupt. Lions feel good. I like the Lions to win, take care of business. If Detroit loses, my heart will break for them. Absolute heartbreak for them if they lose. But I think they win. I think they're my lock of the week. Detroit -3. And Sunday Night Football on NBC. Finally, Monday night. Huge game for the Philadelphia Eagles as they travel to the Buccaneers. No A.J. Brown. That's the breaking news this morning. Adam Schefter reported about 45 minutes ago, right before we started the show. No A.J. Brown in this game. Jalen Hurts' finger and hand not healthy. All of the pressure is on Philly to win this game. The Buccaneers are playing with total house money. Philly is favored. I don't know. I don't know how I can pick the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. I just don't. I don't. Nothing that I've seen from them over the last 5 weeks tells me they can flip the switch and turn it around, especially if Hurts' hand isn't 100% and they don't have one of the top 5 receivers in the league in A.J. Brown. Now, I can make the argument that maybe no A.J. Brown kind of loosens things up because he's a little bit of a diva, a little bit of a I got to get mine type of guy and could be explosive on the sideline. Maybe that just kind of calms and frees things up and Hurts can play a little loose. I know the Eagles are experienced, but this Bucs team is experienced too. This is a Todd Bowles and Bucs team that made the playoffs last year. I'm going to take I hate saying it, but I'm going to take the Bucs. I think Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans have a game that is one of those. It's going to be the crowning maybe achievement in Baker's career and one of those insane highlight games for Mike Evans. The back end of Philly's defense is so bad. It's so bad. It has fallen apart. They're not healthy. The Eagles defense is just, it's not great. The Bucs run game has come alive. The Bucs have weapons that can take advantage of the back end of Philly's bad defense. And listen, Todd Bowles is still a good defensive coach. And this Eagles offense is all out of whack. It's a total coin toss game. The reason it's not my upset, I took the Texans as the upset, is because this is the game I have just no real idea. I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to take the over 43.5. That's like, to me, a total lock because I think there's going to be points because I think Philly's defense is so bad. The Bucs are going to score, but Philly's offense has enough pieces to where they're going to keep up and they're not going to go down without, swinging. It's a total coin flip game. I'm going to take the Bucs because of Mike Evans, Baker, and just how horrible the back end of the Philly defense is. No A.J. Brown is crucial to this game as well. There you go. That is my pick. So I'm going to take the Bucs. I'm taking the Lions. I'm taking the Cowboys. I'm taking the Bills. I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm taking the Texans. Every single home team. I'm taking this week. Not every favorite, but every home team. If things work out the way it does, then that means you get Bucs at the Niners, Lions Cowboys rematch in Dallas. Oh, that will be juicy. Already know I'm picking the Lions there, and that would then mean Chiefs at Bills, Texans at Ravens. Oh, wouldn't we be so lucky? Wouldn't we be so lucky? You're listening on the Mark News Talk 1070 KHMO, the KHMO app. brought to you by Cunis Honda Hyundai. When we come back, Nick Saban retires. The end of the GOAT era in college football. Smart move by Saban. Go out on top. And can Kalen DeBoer keep the dynasty alive? We'll talk about it next. Live and local on America's News Talk 1070 KHMO, the KHMO app. It's On the Mark.
Every 2 minutes, a woman in the U.S. is diagnosed with breast cancer. And in that split-second moment in time, her life changes forever. The toll of breast cancer is great. The need to support those who are battling the disease today is even greater. And that's why when others look away, Susan G. Komen leans in. We're fighting alongside patients because we know one moment can change a lifetime. Fighting breast cancer takes funding for research to discover the next new treatment, providing access to quality and affordable health care, and people willing to take action by raising funds and raising their voice to advocate for others. United by hope, we can end breast cancer. Join our fight. Save lives.
Happy kids heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids, regardless of their illness or injury. When a child is hospitalized, the happiness of childhood feels out of reach. But that's where Starlight comes in. We provide entertainment through our gaming stations, comfort with our specially designed hospital gowns, play with our toy deliveries, and distraction through our virtual reality headsets. Starlight programs are what happiness is made of. The things that make being a kid special. The simple power of a smile, delivered to over 800 hospitals across the country, can make a lifetime of difference for sick kids. Learn more at starlight.org.
Here is your weatherology forecast from the News Talk 1070 KHMO Weather Center. A wind chill warning continues. Cloudy, cold, and breezy today. Light snow or flurries in the area. Temperatures hold steady for the most part across the region. Winds westerly 10 to 20 miles per hour. Higher gusts possible. Right now it's 14.
Welcome on back to On the Mark on News Talk 1070 KHMO. The KHMO app brought to you by Cunis Honda Hyundai, your number one Honda and Hyundai dealer in the tri-state area, 221 North 36th Street in Quincy. Ask them about that lifetime powertrain warranty, the no fear warranty on new and used vehicles. Just tell them, hey, Mark sent me. Nick Saban retires. The greatest college football coach ever. It was 11-1 in SEC title games. I mean, the man ran a program that won the national title every year except for the times there was a generational team, like the Joe Burrow LSU team, or the Cam Newton Auburn team. Otherwise, he won every national title. The Trevor Lawrence Clemson team. Like, Nick Saban can never be duplicated, can never be repeated. If he is, then that coach will have earned the title of passing him as the greatest college football coach of all time. I think he got out at the right time. The college landscape is getting wild. The amount of people transferring, the NILs, the expansion to 12 teams. I think Saban got out at the exact right time. Saban has said for years he didn't want to be Joe Pa. He didn't want to be Bobby Bowden. I think you're going to see Saban on TV for the next 10 years being really entertaining, really fun. And that'll help, I think, kind of preserve his legacy as the greatest. Can Kalen DeBoer, replace, Saban and do what Saban did? No, he can't because he's not Nick Saban. No one's Nick Saban. But I would tell Alabama fans to really give him a chance. I hope Kalen DeBoer gets a legit chance. I think he could be there for 10 years. If you give him that chance, that time, make the playoffs a couple of years, keep the recruiting high, find your way to a national title game. It can happen in Alabama. It can. They have the best facilities in the world. Kalen DeBoer is one of the best coaches in college football. And so I hope he gets the chance to really hold on to it. The college landscape now is fascinating, right? Texas, I think this is every one of the big programs. This is a huge win for them. It's a huge win for Ohio State, Clemson, Texas, Georgia, because it brings Alabama down just 10 to 20%. And that 20% is being slightly dispersed across the other big programs. And that's huge for them. It's huge for them because they were never going to gain that 20%. It was an insurmountable gain because Saban is Saban. And shout out to Michigan. What they did, incredible season. Jim Harbaugh, one of the best coaches just in football in general. I think he's the top 5 coach in football right now. I would love to see Jim Harbaugh back in the NFL. If he stays with Michigan, good for him. But I think there's plenty of openings in plenty of places. I wish it was my Chicago Bears that he would have ended up in. But Michigan, best team all year, without a doubt. No cheating, all that BS. Hail to the victors. When we come back, quick thoughts on the Chicago Bears. We're live and local. It's on the mark on News Talk 1070 KHMO, the KHMO app.
Day 1, diagnosis day. The hardest day. The day you hear,
I'm sorry, this is a type of blood cancer.
But day 1 is just one day. At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we are here to help you move past day 1.
On day 45, I discovered an online community who shared great tips for in-treatment care.
On day 185, LLS helped me file my insurance claims properly.
We are here for you. We exist for everyone fighting leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, and other types of blood cancer.
LLS provided immediate financial support that helped me keep my business going through treatment.
Day 5,840 and counting, and I'm still in remission.
To learn more and get help on day 1, day 2, day 983, or any day, please visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572. That's LLS.org, 1-800-955-4572.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
1070 KHMO.
Welcome on back to On the Mark on News Talk 1070 KHMO, the KHMO app, brought to you by Cunis Honda Hyundai. Check them on out. Tell them Mark sent you, 221 North 36th Street in Quincy, and ask them about that lifetime no-fear powertrain warranty on new and used vehicles. Wrapping up the show here really quick. I had to mention this on the show. I posted on my YouTube channel at Mark Hespin and on the Mark KHMO Facebook page. Follow me there. The Bears decide to keep Matt Eberflus. They fire Luke Getsy. I think, to me, this signals the Chicago Bears are keeping Justin Fields and moving forward with Justin Fields. It seems as though they are deciding to put the blame, the offensive struggles, on Luke Getsy and saying, hey, we like where Matt Eberflus is bringing along the defense. We like that he didn't lose the locker room. He's a good dude. We think there's all these positives, right? Even though, again, I don't think all these things. This is what I think they're thinking through. And they're saying to themselves, we think Justin Fields can really be a top 10 quarterback in this league if he's used the right way and we surround him with a couple more weapons, that then all of a sudden this thing could really pop and really click. If they were drafting Caleb Williams, the Bears are not a great organization, but they can't be dumb enough to think the smartest thing to do is get a rookie with a defensive head coach and blah, 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 and start over. Like, they can't be that dumb. They just can't. So I really do think this signals the Bears are going to try to trade number one. I think the place that makes the most sense to trade is either Washington or New England, to where you could still get Marvin Harrison Jr. and a load of picks for the number one pick. And I really believe the Chicago Bears are moving forward with Justin Fields. I will also say I think it's the right thing for them to do.